So what do you think black people should have done in the beginning for hip hop then? Should they have just been more controlling about who they invited in?
How can you be that when they controlled you anyway? When we got in this, we had to see, unlike what they do now, and they're still using these artists to their advantage. Unlike now, you had to go and they had records to sell. You didn't have the internet where you know, if this was back then when we were making records, some of these people wouldn't be making records now, because if we had the internet, we'd have took it over, tore it up, and kept the hip hop the way it is. But see, records phased out. Now everybody can make a record, right?
Right.
But who are the only ones out here starving enough to keep on putting their music on the internet? You don't see Taylor Swift doing it. You don't see a bunch of big artists doing that shit. You don't see that. So guess what? They're still using the artists because they're using the artists to get money in commercials, right? You're putting up your streams for free. You get 1,500 streams to make one record sale. That's worse than when the fuck. I don't even have 1,500 people I know is alive as old as I am. So how profitable is the record business for me, right? But you young cats, they still robbing it because look how much you make and look how much you got to grind. They're not going to sign you unless you done built your social media up. You built your social media up to a certain platform. They're not going to look at you. So you do all the work. You don't get a budget anymore. You go film your own videos. You do all of this. You do everything for your own career. And you give it to them so they can take one MP3 and put it on one MP3 now. Back in the days, remember when you sold physical copies, you had to make thousands and hundred thousands of them, right? Nowadays, you can make one MP3. I've done it myself and sell it to the world. No packaging cost, nothing cost. Put it on the internet. Everybody can get it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Messed up the music business, messed up everything, but still, there's a way that they're doing this now. And it's the same game, but it's just a different way of going about it. And this way, since there was no regulations written in the beginning, see, with physical records and CDs, there was a back and forth about how much you pay for your package, how much you pay for this, how much you pay for this. So there was a line of dialogue of what you was getting and what you weren't getting. Internet wasn't invented then, so internet in our contracts were known as anything that comes further in the universe. Ask anybody about that's old school. They've got something in the contract that covers that section, and they've got something in that contract that covers the fucking future, the Jetson age. Only difference is the Jetson age didn't have a standard. The Jetson age didn't have a particular, we pay you this, because nobody knew about it. The internet was like the Wild Wild West. And they figured out that the Wild Wild West, shit, we still control that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
So we out here on the internet at the Wild Wild West, motherfucker, while they making all the money regardless. Everybody on Instagram thinks they're a star. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
And they like this. Why? Because they can use that to be that agent and steer and direct your intelligence. They're gathering information on everybody out here, period. And it's a funnel of information that's good. See, before, you used to have to go to a bunch of things to sign up. Now, when you go to sign up on something, what you say, you could sign in by Google, right?
Right.
You know what? You got lazy because you don't want to type in all of that. So everything that you're doing is now you got to do through Google. Guess what they're doing? Funneling all the information where they used to have to go to 12 and 13, 14 sites to get everything about you. Now they can go to one place because now you done clicked it, and they funnel all the information into one tube because it starts out wide at the bottom. You can't control this wide bottom. You can't control that wide bottom, but you can control the flow of information as you get to the top. See how slim it gets?
Right.
I know I sound like one of them conspiracy theorists, but if you think about what the fuck I'm saying, it's like the nigga ain't as drunk as he be all the time anyway.
Nah, you speaking facts, man.
He might be drunk.
What do you think about how, in the beginning, these record companies were ran predominantly by white people, right? So those shady practices were then taught to, black executives who did the same shady practices. What do you think about that?
Music business was ran by the mafia, son. The mafia controlled it, okay? And so the mafia rule still is in effect today. If anybody don't know, you look back at any of them record companies, the mob said what was up. So it was a mafia-run business. And so it was all about profit. Fuck how you feel, blah, blah, blah. Push the artists out. At least back then, they would develop an artist. They would work with them. They wouldn't just kick them off their first record. It didn't work. Get out of here. We'll find somebody new, because they got it now like that. They could pick somebody new at random. But back then, they developed their artists. They taught them how to be artists. Gave them dance lessons. Made them know how to sing. They gave them the whole spectrum. Don't you notice that most of the black acts from back then could dance and do a bunch of shit? Because they sent them to school to become the artists that they became. Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, and the rest of them. They sent them to school. Even during my era, they would give you a freaking chance until you tell somebody that they're a bundle of sticks. Right?
Right.
Your first album didn't work, but we're going to work on that. Let's work on that. See, what they did was they took me from a hood motherfucker and tried to make me into something that I wasn't. And so I blew that deal.
There was more artist development back then. There was more artist development. There's none of that now. Like you were saying, you got to get your own social media popping. You got to get everything, and then they'll put a little bit of money into you, but not as much as they used to.
Right. Now, look, an artist got to understand this, that if you can watch Snoop Dogg, one of the greatest rappers on this earth, right? And he's in the studio with Dre, and he's saying his rhyme, but he looks over to Dre. Yo, Dre, did I say that right? That right there is an artist that knows his fucking way through this music. He knows that he got it. But even at this point in Snoop's life, he still depends on Dre to be the producer and say, well, I didn't like that. And when Dre says, I don't like that, you think Snoop fucking yell at him? Or say, nah. Snoop just say, all right, I'm going to try it like that. Try it like that. That's it. Producers don't even produce anymore. They just let an artist go in the booth, say what they say. They don't know how to direct their cadence. They don't know how to tell them that it sounds like you're reading. I'm going to need a little bit more feeling in what you're saying, because I don't even believe you. And with music, see how people can look in your face when it's visual, when it's on TV and when it's visual. They can look in your face and tell your emotions. With music, it's very different. You have to use your voice to fluctuate and make people feel emotion. You see what I'm saying? See how I took you into a suspenseful mood just by my voice and my tone? And then you bring it back up. You see what I'm saying? So your voice controls that mood, even when people are not looking. You set the mode, you set the pace. And so it's very important as a music artist to be able to use your voice to crescendo and make people feel the love in your heart, and then feel the low in your fucking voice, so that they know how to feel while they're listening. Our art that's been lost by these fucking new How can you fucking tell a motherfucker how to mumble? It just comes out.
Yeah, see, like what you're saying with the inflections, right? The cadence and everything. There's a difference between a beat maker and a producer. The producer was like the person that orchestrated everything, put it together. That's why, Dre, maybe he doesn't make every single beat or whatever, but he orchestrates the whole thing where he's like,
I was just about to, after you finish, right? Quincy Jones was just that. Quincy Jones did not have to make any of the music. They would call Quincy Jones to come in to make this music a song. So Quincy didn't actually produce everything that he did. Well, he produced it, but it was already a piece of work that needed sculpting. It needed a few fine edges, and that's what producers do. Dre is a great one. Timberland, a great one. You know what I'm saying? And there's a couple of other ones out here, but I just want to stand on those right there.
There's just so many layers to it that I think that people really miss, you know.
Yeah, well, we're telling them about it now, so they're going to have to refresh themselves if they want to feel the glory and joy that I feel.